souls. Science. Paranormal. Drinks. Three tortured souls. Entertain, educate, recreate, and intoxicate.
Hey there.
Howdy.
It worked.
Kind of.
Kind of. Well, it does I noticed it's like a half a second. As soon as you hit go live, it goes, I see it go live up there for half a second, and then it kicks in the intro.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And I think it does when you do the outro part.
Mhm.
So we're talking about StreamYard and the automatic intro and outro.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone. The outro, when you hit it, it will play your outro video and kick you out. So you're not out altogether, but it kicks you out from here, the main screen, so that when it comes back, it's just blank. So it's not like or you're fixing your pants and stuff like that. Everybody sees
your
it.
nose.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Three Tortured Souls. It's that time of the month for us.
That's one way to put it.
It is.
So we got, we're going to do some review, and then we're going to hit to the open mic night because it was my turn. And I had no topic. I was so focused on the Hanover Tavern Paracon that I was like, I didn't even think of this until I don't know. We were sitting at the bar, I think, and I was like,
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
I'm like, yeah, I think it is.
Yes.
Have another beer. Come up with a topic.
Open mic night.
There we go.
But yeah, I think the first couple minutes or so we're gonna talk about the Paracon and just do like an overview. I see Bob Bradley's in the chat. Yes, I'm wearing the shirt. Yes. Absolutely. I love it. I got some compliments today wearing it around the office. They were happy and they're like, who, what's that group? I was like, it's not your normal paranormal group.
One of the few, one of the proud.
Yeah. So what are your overall thoughts, Dave? I'll start with you. I mean, this is your second time.
Yep.
So what do you think about this conference compared to last year's conference?
It seemed bigger and better this year. I think they said it's been going on for 4 years or so. I could be wrong. I'm sure Brad will correct me here if I'm wrong. But I think it's been 4 years. So I went last year, gave a talk. And then this year, seemed like they had a lot of people there. The diversity of the talks was good. Everything from investigations and research that Kenny and I covered to Skinwalker Ranch to ethics and potential legal issues and things you should think about in the field to they even had one person get up and talk about their near-death experience. And then they invited two other people from the audience to come up and talk about theirs as well. Then they had a panel on why we believe and a couple other talks here and there that we'll go through. So I got to say, it's just a really nice group of people. Steve Dills is great. Brad Bradley, which is in the group with CPRI, which is where Kenny got his shirt from. Super good, super scientific type of group. Had some really good discussions with people that came by the setup that Kenny had. And then we had a table right next to his skeptical help bar booth, or he had the peanuts thing set up again, bigger and better this time, which was nice. He had all kinds of good stuff to give out. So I had a table right next to that with the Three Tortured Souls banner on it. So it was great to sit down and talk to some people. I basically just sat there and listened to Kenny, listened to stories, and he had some good conversations. Surprisingly, I think we ran into, I think, at least 2 or 3 other people that just randomly came up and had pretty good conversations. There were some fairly scientific people there. There's a couple PhDs there. There was a graduate student there that was, I think she was getting ready. She was working on her dissertation at this point, and I think she's going to reach out to Kenny and I. Then somebody who was there last year, one of the staff that did better than average on the Zener card test. She was there again. We tested her a couple times, and she did well on one of the tests. And I think overall, I had a really good time. It was fun. Awesome. Yeah. I always enjoy going to those things under the right conditions. And this one, to me, it's kind of a nice mix of the ghost hunter, maybe the more serious paranormal investigator. And I'll end it with the one thing I really like is people were open, at least seem to be open to differing opinions and willing to talk and have a back and forth with you. So It's a good time. Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If you can go and they have it next year, I would definitely recommend going.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. We did miss Tim a lot. It felt weird.
It was weird.
It was weird. We didn't have
if Kenny gets in a fight, there's no way in hell I'm doing anything. I'm just going to sit here and watch. I'm like, there's no Tim.
I have a question.
Yes.
Two. I was going to ask. The first one was, did Kenny need backup? And how many autographs did he sign?
Oh my God.
He is a paracelebrity. We've determined that yet again.
You got his first autograph on video. I think so.
I did. Nobody wanted his autograph here, though.
Yeah.
They were too awestruck and afraid to ask.
Oh my God. You suck. I hate you both. Despite that, I had a good time. And I agree with everything Dave said. I mean, we set up. We did have we kind of got choice of where we wanted to go because I was there. I arrived Thursday, and after arriving and checking in and stuff, I had nothing to do. I tried to go to. I was going to go to Richmond because it was only like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 10 miles. It wasn't far. I was going to see if they have ghost tours because I haven't been on a ghost tour in a while. But even though they do, and several, in fact, they weren't Thursday night. It was only Friday and Saturday nights. So I was like, all right. So I contacted Steve and was able to go over to the tavern, and he was phenomenal. Such a great guy. So nice, so outgoing and friendly, laid back, easygoing. He gave me a tour of the entire tavern, told me all the history of the place. And I was excited because the enthusiasm that I saw and felt like from him, he was so enthusiastic and excited about talking about the history and things that they found when they started renovating and bringing things back to what they used to be. It was just really, really nice. Of course, I helped them set up some of the tables and stuff. So I was like, hey, there's like 2 8-foot tables and the rest of these are 6. Can I take a 8? That way we have more room. He's like, yeah, go ahead. So, but I like the diversity of behavior and attitude. Like, just like Dave said, I mean, everyone was pretty much willing to talk. Even people that I didn't expect would be willing to talk were. We had good conversations. Quite a few people came up and did have stories to tell, and we discussed it. And I think there was only one that was kind of like steamrolling their story through it, even though I stopped a couple times and said, you sure about that? What about this? They're like, oh, yeah, well, maybe. And then steamrolled right through it. I think they were just excited to tell their story, which was fine. That's cool. It was fun to watch Dave do the tests, the Zener card tests. That was interesting. And the old guy that was sitting on the other side of me, he was, every time you did a test, he turned his chair and he was watching you so intently. I was like, all right.
Amazing how 25 cards with squiggly lines, circles, squares, and stars and pluses on them can entertain people.
Yeah.
But it, you
Yeah.
think about it, it's interesting when you start talking about people and ask them how they want to do the test, that you can have so many variations just sitting there randomly testing people as they walk up, and makes you
Right.
realize how many different ways there are to do it, how many variables there are, and how some people did a lot better. In some of it, I would try to send them like telepathy, like send them the signal. Well, I must be horrible at sending it because that didn't work out. And the girl who did it last year consistently, I think 7 or 8 right, and chance is 5. I mean, it's not a huge number, but it's better than chance expectation. She did it twice in a row. I think last year when I was there with Brandon, he was the one sending the signal. So I tried to do that. She did horribly. And then I just did it where I left the cards down and she would just try to visualize them without me trying to send them. And then she got like 9 out of 25 right. So it's interesting. You got to do it hundreds of times to get a idea if it's really working, but it's interesting, especially, you go back, and it was nice to see somebody who had done it before come up and want to try it again. So it was fun. Yeah. The Zener cards are a hit. It's a good way to bring people over. At first I'm thinking, sitting next to Kenny's big skeptic display there, I'm like, well, this ought to kill anybody coming over to try to test. And no, people they came up and tried it and they had a good time. One guy, interestingly enough, he got 3 or 4, I think it was 4 out of 6 right out of the gate, and it freaked him out and he didn't want to continue anymore. I'm like, wow, you started off great and you're almost well above, you're going to be well, right now he was well above any type of chance expectation. And then he literally freaked out and didn't want to come back, and he didn't want to continue. It was weird.
Oh, I'd have kept going
Anyway.
and I'd asked for a shirt that said I passed the test.
Everybody gets a participation award on that one.
Oh my God.
I would go straight from there and go buy a lottery ticket. I would be like 34.
That's a good idea, Tim. I should have given him $20 and go get me a lottery ticket, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Maybe you didn't want to waste the psychic power on your test.
Yeah.
Well, I can't blame them. It's a silly test or $100 million in Powerball. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I went to some of the talks. I didn't
Yes.
go to all of them. I think, Dave, you went to more than I did.
Yeah, I went.
But I was back and forth.
Yeah.
Some I didn't agree with at all. The content. I don't want to speak bad about people, especially when they're not here to defend themselves. But I think people need more experience before they take the stage and present in front of an audience. Don't be a very like a newbie, wet behind the ears and expect to give expert advice to an audience when you yourself are not experts. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not being mean with that. I'm just saying get more experience before doing something like that. Some of the stuff I came in on the tail end of the Skinwalker thing with Steve. So I only got the last maybe 5-10 minutes of that, but it was not what I expected. He went into different ideas and thoughts, and I was like, oh, I kind of regret it not being there from the beginning, because I would have liked to have caught that from the beginning. Who else did we? There was a few. The panel discussion was, and I don't. It's not the questions that were asked, because the guy that was moderating, I think, was one of the CPRI, right? Is that what it is? CPRI guys.
Yep.
I think the questions were good. I don't think many of the answers were. I'll leave it at that. I think people tend to, especially in that community, think they wanted to tell stories too much instead of really addressing the issues that were being presented. So But I mean, otherwise, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed most of the first talk, the first night, Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the ghost tours of Richmond. Those people were there. The people that own the tour company were there, and they did like history and then like the ghost stories with each place.
Yeah.
And as any time, I mean, I just enjoyed the history, learning the
Mhm.
history of each building, which made me go out and buy. Like I bought one of the books. I got Haunted Richmond from them, so I can read up more on the history.
I'm enjoying that haunted headline book.
Oh yeah,
That's
good.
very interesting.
I saw he just released the fourth one, so it's available. I gotta order that.
It's like a nice little clue into the psyche of
Mhm.
like what it was like.
Yeah, looking back through the ages. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I don't know what else. Well, the ghost hunt. And then we went through all day. It was a long day. I'm going to say that from the start. It was a long day. We were there and talking to a lot of people. We had conversations. We both roamed around a little bit and then engaged in conversations. And then, by the time the ghost hunt came around, they started at 9:00. We were in the back. I know. I saw Dave's face looking around, and like I started counting, and I think the first time I counted, I got to 50 something, and then within 5 minutes, I counted again, and I was like, yeah, we're like 68, and I don't think I counted all the staff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't count the kids,
which
I wasn't too thrilled about. I mean, it's not my event, so but they had a bunch of kids. Like, I mean, I'm talking little kids there, and I was like, they're gonna be talking, they're gonna be doing this, they're gonna be doing that. And then I looked ahead at like 5 hours from now, starting at 9:00, and I was like, I'm fucking tired.
yeah, I think that's what it came down to. We were probably tired by the end of the day, and for what I would have wanted to do, which I'm playing around more with the real apps with the sensor that log your sensor data on your phone. I was hoping to do some of that, but then when you look at, they had 5 different locations. I think they were going to rotate between, spend about maybe an hour in each one. But even that, if you divide it up, 12 plus people
Right.
in each one, that's not going to allow me to do anything. And I personally, I've seen enough ghost hunts and paranormal investigations, and knowing that I had to get up at, I don't know, 5 or 6 in the morning to catch a plane back to Chicago, I decided to pass. And people I'm sure had a great time, and there's supposed to be a fair amount of good activity at those different locations. And I would have loved to have gone just to see the buildings, because there's older historic buildings and pretty cool, and some areas you'd get into that maybe normally wouldn't see. That was my understanding, and I would have liked to have done that. But if I'd look at it, and I had a balance, do I want to get some sleep and be okay to, when I finally get home, spend some time with family, or do I want to stay up and just follow the groups around? So I decided not to, but I'm sure people had a great time. People looked super excited, looked like they were glad to be there. And, I hope they all had a great time, and I hope they had some experiences.
Right. And I mean, overall, it was great. There was something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't too big. It wasn't too small. It was just right.
Yeah.
So,
I would agree. Agree.
It was nice. I did enjoy it, and I would like to come back next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was that comfortable, and I enjoyed interacting with just about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, even if I have like comments, like I didn't agree with something or I didn't like something, it doesn't mean that the overall experience wasn't good. It just, it's always going to be like that. You go to some event like this, and you're going to like some things, you're not going to like some things, and that's it. I honestly loved talking to and meeting all the CPRI guys.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised with each one of them, because when they came up and we started talking, I was like, wow, this is not a ghost hunting group. These are people that are serious. They really take the time to look into the science of things, and they're going back to a location over and over again, not because they're like, ooh, ah, they're trying experiments. They got some kind of results or no results, and they want to go back and replicate that and see if they can repeat it over and over again. And I was like, this is awesome. Plus, I mean, I love this shirt. I love it. And I mean, I talked to one guy was a police officer. Another was a firefighter that I talked to.
Yep.
And that was nice because part of my presentation was about trained observers. And that's I put that in there because of your buddy Tim, your best buddy, made that comment at a monster festival that I was.
No.
Yeah, him. But I put that in there, and I had talked about it at a Bigfoot conference I went to a few months ago, and I refined it a little bit. I added to it a little bit, and then with these two guys, I was like, well, these are two examples that are always brought up. Like, oh, it's a cop or he's a firefighter. Like this is perfect. So I talked to them.
Pilot.
Yeah, and a pilot. Yeah, I needed a pilot. But I talked to them and I said, hey, can I run something by you? This is what is in my presentation. I'm going to tell you what it is. And am I spot on or am I off the mark? And if I am, give me feedback so I can adjust it accordingly. And I went through it and they were like, no, that's dead on. He's like, the cop was like, we can go to a fire and this guy pointing at the firefighter will point out shit that I don't see. Like, I don't notice any of this. And he's pointing out, like, this is where the fire started. This is where it trailed. This is how it came into this room. This going off. And he's like, same thing. We go to a crime scene. He's not going to know shit. I'm going to, and he'll point out stuff. I said, good. That's part of my presentation. So I was very happy.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it. So needless to say, like, we didn't go to the ghost hunt. I felt bad. I missed it. And I didn't get to say goodbye to Steve. But I did talk to him the next day on my way home. But maybe next time, because it's the same thing, Dave. Like, the only thing keeping me, like, making me hesitate was because I wanted to see the buildings. Especially the jail. I don't know why. I love old jails. I would love to.
Old jails, old prisons are they're cool. Yeah. Especially at night. They're super cool.
And freaky. And the courthouse, I think, isn't that like the third oldest courthouse? I think that's what they were saying. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Bradley's
it's a lot of history to that set of buildings in that location there.
Right. So, all right. I guess that's about it. That's there's not much else that happened.
Yeah. No, just great time and highly recommend if people have the chance, check it out.
Right. So we'll go into the open mic night part of it. And that means you guys that are watching, it's up to you. I know we have a couple questions in the queue already, but it's up to you. Ask questions, bring up questions that you want us to talk about. You get 3 different perspectives here. We may agree. We may agree.
Chances are we won't.
Yeah. But, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
So, all right. I'll put the first one.
Can we pull it up?
I think this. Oh, you can do it if you want. I'll let you. I will put my hands up. John Michael, what is the scientific basis for Zener cards, if there is one? If you take an eye test for blindness and fail, then you are classified as blind.
So the eye test is pass or fail. The Zener cards are based more on how does your number of correct guesses compare against chance expectation. So there's a little bit of difference there. The scientific basis, these were developed by Carl Zener and J.B. Rhine back when Duke University had the parapsychology department, of which now it's the Rhine Research Institute. They designed these cards as a way to test for extrasensory perception. And depending on how you run the test and what you do with it, you can test for different things. You can test for precognition. You can test for telepathy if you're trying to send the signal. You can test for clairvoyance. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. And then you can either have, it's a deck of 25 cards, 5 different symbols. So you have squiggly lines, a plus, a square, a circle, and then a star. So the idea is you have people call what they think it is, no matter which way you're running the test. And then once you get that result, you can, and they use these 5 distinct symbols to hopefully be able to differentiate. But sometimes I've noticed people in the years I've been doing this, I've noticed the square and the circle kind of, people will guess square a lot for the circle and the circle a lot for the square. So yeah, Kenny's holding them up. And yeah, it's basically a way to have 5 distinct symbols to test for ESP, and you can apply statistical analysis to it. So yes, that's the scientific basis for the Zener cards. Now, another thing you can do with them, you can either go through the 25 cards and that's it. And because there's 5 symbols and 5 of each, if you guess one symbol all the time, you're going to get 5 out of 25 right. So that's a chance expectation. Then as you start getting higher than that, you can determine what your score is compared. What would it be like? Is it a 1 in 10 chance that that's due to just, good random guessing chance expectation? Or, if you get more around, you got so many right that it's a 1 in 40 chance or a 1 in 100 chance, then, okay, you start thinking that's an interesting result. And then you got to repeat the test. The other thing you can do with them is not just have the 25 cards, because we did have one person that seemed like they were trying to card count. So there's ways to get around that. You can either change the number of each symbol and then change the probability outcomes and the calculation, and Kenny asked about this, and I forgot the second point at the time, you could have a deck that just keeps refilling. And you don't know how many you don't tell them how many you're going to do. You just keep going. And every time they guess, another card gets put back in the deck. So it's a continuous replenishment of the deck. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
It was fun watching you. Like, I think the first test, the person asked you to send the image, and you were like, you would look at the card and be like,
and I'm trying so hard. I'm literally, the way I'm like looking at him, thinking if it was a star, I'm like star, 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 star. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm getting louder. Like they're going to fucking hear me if I say it louder in my head. But those actually were bad. And the one girl, again, and this is not much of a baseline, but at least something. Last year, she got 7 or 8 right both times, which is, 3 or so 2 or 3 over chance expectation, which, it's interesting, but not. Right. And she got it. I'm like, you got to do it more. So she came this time. The first time I tested her, she was at her reception desk, and kept getting interrupted, and it was horrible. So she like 3 out of 25. And then she did it with me trying to send it again, not really quiet. The room was noisy. She got 5 out of 25. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's me because I just really suck at sending any type of telepathic signal. So then I just left the cards down and had her just try to view what the card was. And she got 9 out of 25 then. Wow. So I gave her some links. She can do some more testing on her own online. It'll calculate the stats. The nice thing about it is I have a spreadsheet where you plug in how many cards, how many of each symbol, and then what your result is. And it calculates what the probability is for you. So people can get their result real quick. So I needed
that in college.
Yeah, it's only $10.99, Tim. You can send a PayPal payment over to me. The other thing I ended up doing, because I also noticed people would get some people like feedback, other ones don't. So they were getting a little discouraged if they started doing badly. So what I ended up doing is just taking the cards. I had one pile that was correct, and I'd have like 4 or 5 other piles where I'm just randomly putting wrong cards, and face down, so they had no idea how they were doing. They tended to do a little better without getting frustrated. I think after a while, if you had any ability at all, you're probably going to get pissed off and not lose interest if you're wrong all the time.
There was a question I wanted to ask you about that, because I noticed it, and by the time, because the young lady that worked there, when she was taking the test, I noticed that she made sure the box that held the cards was in front of her.
So
and she kept looking at the card, the symbols on the box to pick it out. And so I guess my question is, what's the most common, I guess, I don't know how to phrase this. What's the most common way people describe getting the symbols? Because like she kept having to look at the box for the symbols, and it made me think like, well, then you can't be getting a picture in your head.
For her, she told me it was just to remind her what the symbols were. And then most people that did that would look at it and tell me it's kind of the one they're looking at that would kind of jump out at them. Like they'd look at it and go, star. It would just kind of speak to them in a way.
Okay.
Other ones don't do that. Other ones remember. And usually they at least the ones I've at the conference here, they would tell me they either tried to picture it or they just kind of had a feeling. And most of the time, the ones, at least, again, very limited with these number of people, the ones who went with their gut feeling initially and said it right away and didn't overthink it, they tended to do a little better.
I like the idea of not letting them see what it is, only because when you mentioned the difference between the two, there is and I can't think of it right now, but it is a psychological tendency that if it has to do with gambling, and part of what the reinforcement is for. But if you, if you got a cross or a squiggly line, so you got a squiggly lines, and you've been getting things wrong, and you got a squiggly line, and maybe you got 2 squiggly lines in a row, then in their mind they're thinking, there's no way I'm going to get 3 in a row, so they'll eliminate that. But if you rotate the cards all the time, then the chances or the probability are always going to be the same. But you tend to think it's going to increase my chances of winning because one was already drawn and there's no way I'm going to get 2 in a row.
When I did I must be really bad at shuffling cards, because there was a couple where there's like
thank you, John Michael.
3 squares in a row or 3 squiggly lines in a row, and it was interesting. Nobody would guess like squiggly line, squiggly line, squiggly line. I see what you're saying, Tim, is it looked like they would guess a symbol. And again, I didn't write down everything. The best way to do this would be write down what their guesses were, but it was interesting because nobody really did a string of anything or 2 or 3 of anything. They would guess a symbol, then guess a separate symbol.
Okay.
It's just fun to see how people do it. And it's actually just a great way, I think, to bring people in to get talking about how to test certain abilities and what it means, and to explain to them there's different types of ESP. There's subgroups or categories that you can test different ways. And it's a good conversation. And then you can talk to them about probability and chance expectation and the fact that you have to do this multiple times.
Yeah. It was fun. Oh, I also wanted to say too that I was very impressed with you, Dave, when you did your presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's the first time I've seen you do something like that. So I was like, oh, look at him go. That's my boy up there.
And Kenny, your talk was extremely good too. I mean, it was nice to see how, we always
I was drunk.
Next year we're zapping people. I'm getting one of those dog collars and see if that works. I'm going to have Brandon show up and be the one doing that though. So yeah, Kenny did a great job. It's kind of, we talk about this stuff on the show, but to see it kind of put together in a nice, comprehensive, to the point presentation, it was really good. I think people appreciated it.
I think so. I mean, I saw watching the crowd. I saw a lot of heads actually like bobbing. Yeah. like, oh yeah, and that recognition on their face when we would say something. And another thing, I think both our talks went well together.
Mhm.
They flowed nice, but seeing the audience reaction is nice.
Would have
When
been good
they're
to have
like,
a third person there to talk about
yeah,
his
I know, wouldn't it? Would have been great.
fucking slacker.
Hey.
Yeah, it's true.
All right.
It's true. I couldn't
What
make
else?
it.
You suck.
I was there in spirit.
We sense
Speaking of
that.
spirit, let's Cat and Mac. Did you find spirits at the tavern? Well,
There was beer
yeah, we did find beer
and rum.
and rum. We did.
We
I
didn't
think
go on
that-
the ghost hunt, so I can't tell
Yeah,
you if we found
yeah.
anything or not.
I mean, I was there. So Thursday night, I was roaming around. I was there pretty late with Steve, and it was nice because we went through the entire tavern. I mean, I got because it's weird. I keep calling it the second and third floor, but it's actually like you park in the parking lot, you go down a ramp, and you go into what they consider the basement, and that's where the theater is. It's where the bar and the main dining rooms are, and the reception and everything. And then you go upstairs to the main floor, and it's nice to have like it's an enclosed balcony the length of the tavern that overlooks the backyard, which is also weird because the back is actually supposed to be the front. I don't know. They're weird down there. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Bradley.
It's an Appalachian thing.
Yeah.
People come in the kitchen door down here, not the front door.
I got the whole tour, and I got to hear about the experiences in there that people have had. Oh, a cool thing was that, so like I'm trying to remember the details, but one side was the residential part, and when we were in there, there was a big room that Steve called the parlor, and it had like the old candle making bench, like the workbench where they made candles, which was really cool, big fireplace and everything. And there was a mannequin in there with a old Victorian style morning dress. So
cool.
He's telling me about a story about this young lady that was in there with her mom, and the young lady saw a woman in a black dress, like a black morning dress. Like it was a quick thing. She looked in the room, kind of saw this other woman on the other side of the room go through a doorway. So it was really quick. And he's telling me about it, and he's like, it's really cool. And we've had, they claim to have EVPs talking about a woman or a woman's voice. And on Saturday, we got done our talk, and we come back, and here comes Steve. He comes over with this young lady, and he's like, hey, this is Katie, and you know why I'm bringing her? And I was like, I don't know, is she mad at me? Like,
did she want an autograph? I don't know.
Funny. But no, it was the eyewitness. It was the girl that saw this alleged ghost. So I got to talk to her and get the firsthand account as best I could, because I found out quickly that she is, I believe she's 26 now, and this event occurred when she was like 13 or 14. So it was quite a long time ago, quite a few years. And I was like, all right, well, tell me what you remember. But I know it's going to be hard because we're talking like 12, 14 years ago, like 12 years ago that you had this experience. So, and it's not written down, but I mean, she was really nice. She was super nice. She told me everything she remembered. Her mother was there and was able to give me a little bit of information. And that was, I'm sorry, I keep talking a lot. It was because I'm remembering things as they come up. It was an interesting example because her mother, it was there at the time also when this experience happened. Almost from the beginning, the girl gave a detail and the mother's like, well, no, that didn't happen that way. It happened this way. So there was already a conflict, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it wasn't like, aha, you're both wrong. It was, okay, so now we have a discrepancy between the two witnesses that were there at the same time, same place, a few feet apart. And then the rest of the story was mostly from the younger girl, because she's the one that really sold the ghost, or alleged ghost. So, but it was interesting to go through that, and I talked to them both about it, about the discrepancy, and that, you know, because it's so long ago, I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying you're lying or it's false. I'm just saying I have to take into account that it's a long time ago. But they were very, very nice, and I talked to them later, right before we left the ghost hunt. I talked to him again, but all right. But that's, yeah. Other than that, the only spirits that we found were behind the bar, which was also a nice perk because I had one of my iced tea jugs, and Steve had a bottle of Kraken, his own, that he brought behind the bar, and he's like, "Go ahead, fill it up if you want to." I was like,
Oh,
I love this place. All right. I think we only have one more question so far. Would you ever consider going back there to try to do a private tour of the buildings? Dave?
Yeah, I would. I'd private tour and like to actually do some data logging and data collection there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go back.
let's do it in the spring or summer or fall.
Yeah, when it's nice out, I'd be up for that, like a 3TS weekend thing or something. Just go down.
Did they have nice Wi-Fi?
I don't know.
I didn't use it.
Yeah, I didn't use it either.
I could get a cell phone signal. I think I had 5G coverage in there most of the time. So
My
I didn't even try to
You
connect.
could stream from there.
Yeah, we know how that went last
Probably.
time.
Well, that wasn't good, but you could do the test online.
Yeah,
To the people watching.
yeah,
right. That would be interesting. I would definitely go.
looks like we got an
Especially
offer from Brad. He's like, I can make a private tour and data collection happen. Let me know.
Oh,
All right, game on.
Ooh.
We have to start talking about some dates. We'll do it.
Yeah.
I think we actually talked to Brad about coming out and doing some other stuff, maybe with his team, or
Yeah.
sitting in on some stuff they're gonna do, which would be cool. And I've talked to him before on other things, so
Bring
That'd be
the
great.
melted Epic box, and we'll run the test there too.
he talked about that in his talk.
I did.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Brought it up, and I mean, we included you because I started off saying that Tim, the tortured soul that was not with us today, that wasn't able to make it, is actually the one that bought this, and we talked about it, and it was fun to see their faces, the audience faces, when because I showed pictures of the inside, and when I was like, yeah, all these things, and I had the advertisement from the website up saying what 6 inputs it measures, and I read them off, pointing to each one, and I was like, and guess what we found when we opened it up? Nothing. No sensors at all. And you saw them like, like, that's right. See the price tag up here? See what it says? $175. Woo! For a brick. That's great. Paperweight. So yeah, I would definitely go down. I would absolutely go down because again,
fun.
like meeting them guys, I was really impressed. So impressed that they are coming on my Skeptical Help bar on the 21st. I got them scheduled. Yeah. So, Brad, you call him Bradley?
Brad, I think
Robert.
Brad, or Robert, but you go by Brad, don't you?
Does he go by Brad? Do you? Because I've been calling you Bob.
So there's a lot of spirits you found at the bar.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like his name. I see Robert. I hope I'm not wrong. If I am wrong, I'm sorry. But after talking to him, and I know he's got Bradley. Okay. I think you're fucking with me with the name change. After talking with the rest of the team members, I mean, they were all really interesting to talk to. And I know I reached out to him, asked if he would come on with some of his members, and I know he's got 3 other members coming on.
Cool.
And
Good.
so it should be fun. It should be interesting to talk to them. And
I
get
might
their
even listen to that
perspective.
one. I might try to stay up. I might try to stay up that late. It's really not that I don't want to listen. A lot of times I'll tune in and then you notice I don't say anything. And then I wake up and the show's over. Because by Friday night, I'm freaking beat, man.
Old man.
What are you talking about, Grandpa?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Kenny had a great idea though for the 3 of us. Instead of like he's got the thing set up from the Peanuts thing, he was suggesting the balcony from the Muppets, so we could be the 3 old men up there just heckling.
If people knew how often we reference that in our chats when we're talking shit about stuff.
Could you imagine? Because I mean, we were having some fun. We were talking. We were discussing things back and forth during some of the talks, and it totally would be all of us just on the balcony, like, oh, you hear what they said about the ghosts?
Want to scare us? Keep talking. Yeah, we might have to work on that.
Being here.
Yeah, we'd be kicked out pretty quick.
Extra obnoxious.
Waldorf and Statler. Someone knew their names. That's a true.
There you go. That's a true
fan.
Wow.
So Tim does have a 3TS mug.
Yeah.
And I have one too downstairs.
Do I have one? I think I have one. I think you got didn't you get us mugs?
Tim
I
got us
notebook. Yeah.
Tim got us
notebooks. Got notebooks.
Yeah, he got us notebooks.
Yes. Notebook. I know I have a shirt that I made.
Mm-hmm.
The notebook's the one that you used when we came up with the idea of weighing it and then weighing it when you're seeing what the weight of the ink is.
Yeah.
What a bunch of nerds.
God. Kenny was the inspiration for my daughter's science project when we had the debate over regular Oreos and double stuff. And was double stuff actually double stuffed? So we came up with the idea of randomly picking out 2 bags of regular and 2 bags of double stuff. And she scraped them in class and did her hypothesis and weighed them and tested them at random. And they were pretty much double stuffed. So, but original still better.
Oh, see, now we're going to fight.
Yeah, no, there's original is the original. Like you change the it's
why
different.
you improve it.
I'm gonna admit I'm gonna agree with Tim. I think the original's the best.
I'm not saying it's bad.
I'm
saying it. The other one's not bad, but for me, I don't know. It's almost like too much. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the perfect balance. I mean, at some point, with that logic, it'd be like, quadruple stuff's better than double stuff. And eventually you're just going to have a little bit of cookie and marshmallow stuff. And that's no good.
I like the more even ratio between cookie and cream.
Yes.
I enjoy that better. That's all I got to say.
Plus, that's it. Turns this show takes sometimes.
I know. Like, double. But, what? I have. So, do you guys both know Jason Gowan?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love him. Gowan and I have been having this argument since double stuffed were introduced. We go back and forth.
That's how I got involved in it because he's.
Oh right. Yeah. It's. I just feel that the double, 2 cookies, double the cream. You have half the cream in there, which is the original, and it's just the cookie overpowers the cream. I don't think there's enough cream in there.
But I don't feel like such a pig when I stuff a whole Oreo that's regular in my mouth.
That's a good point.
So can we all agree that the Oreo thins are just
no? There's no
I don't like those.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. At least we can agree.
It just makes you eat more of them. That's a marketing ploy.
I don't know anything that's thin about those cookies. Do they have triple stuffed?
Well, if they do, we're going to charge them.
No, I got to.
All right, let me Google it.
triple stuffed Oreo. Holy shit, it is. It's called Mega stuff.
Mega stuff.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
God.
goodness. Now that looks
Oh,
like
wait a
cookie
minute.
pop.
They have a chocolate and the regular cream together. Like, I could try that.
Mega. Oh, and there's a triple double.
Triple double.
It's
Yeah, the chocolate and the regular.
three cookies and a layer of white cream and a layer of chocolate cream.
I could do that.
Oh, I could do that.
I could do that.
We all wonder why America's overweight.
Yeah, because I eat
Yeah.
cookies. I know why I'm overweight, and I'm going to blame my wife this time
Oh,
because
she's not there.
she keeps making freaking cookies.
Hmm.
Like every couple days, I keep coming home. I hope she's not watching.
You're in trouble.
I keep coming home,
No,
and the house smells like cookies, and she's making big bins. And then, like today, she made them this morning and then left. She's
Kenny.
gone for like a week and a half,
Yeah.
and now I have this big freaking container of cookies going. Eat me.
Jen does the same thing around Christmas. We have so many cookies, and every time I walk through the kitchen, you grab one or two.
Yeah.
How bad could one or two be? But when you make 15 trips through the fucking kitchen during the day,
Look.
that's the problem.
guys, as both your attorneys, I advise you to shut up because they're going to hear this and they're going to be like, well, fine, fuck you both. I'm not going to make any more cookies. And you'll be like, but I don't understand.
Oh man. What are loaded Oreos?
This is also what our chat looks like when we're trying to figure out what our next show is going to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it looks like a cookies and cream kind of cream
Yeah.
with cookie
Yeah.
crumbles.
Nope.
Yeah. That's just lazy.
And we're back to the originals.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, we just spent the last 10 minutes arguing about Oreo cookies. Are there any other last minute questions you guys got?
Can
I know
we
we don't
taste
have-
test that? Can we like blindfold people and see?
Ooh.
Or they would probably be able to feel it.
What was I going to do? I was going to do a blind taste test with Donna because she said that. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to think about this. There was something that came up in conversation. She's like, oh yeah, I can tell the difference. And I was like, oh, really? We can test that. That is a testable claim. Let's do it.
You
I did it,
have to, like crush them
so-
up.
Years ago, I went to the Shanley Hotel for a haunted like weekend kind of thing. Stayed there for 2 nights with a group of people, and there was a guy there that claimed that he was such a vodka connoisseur that he could tell you not only between cheap and good vodka, but he could tell you the brand.
Really?
No, he couldn't.
Oh,
He could not, because
But-
come on now. He said that. I was like, well, let's do it. We got vodka here. We got different kinds. Let's set it up.
But
So-
did he have to buy the taste test? If not, that's a genius way to get free vodka.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, we already had it there.
Smart.
There was a whole bunch of people that had brought alcohol up. So
As a matter of fact, it's so good. Next time I see you guys, I'm gonna be like, I can tell the difference
Well, that's what
between Jamaican and Sensimillion.
I used to, when we had parties back when I lived in Philly, the beginning of the year, my birthday is in April. So once it got nice out, we'd have a big party, and it was, hey, BYOB, but you got to leave the bottle. You can come in and you put the bottle behind the bar, because I had a really nice tiki bar set up. It's like you put the bottle behind the bar, and everyone shares, but you leave the bottle because, I mean, especially in Pennsylvania, you're not supposed to drive around with an open container. So that was it. Every April, I stocked the bar because everyone would show up. I'd get like 40, 50 bottles worth of stuff. And like, yeah, I miss those days. Oh, well. Well, my
Now I'm
belly
hungry.
miss those days. All right.
Now
so
I want cookies now.
we made it to the end of the hour.
Nice.
Yeah, not too bad. You guys got anything coming up? How about Tim? You got anything coming up?
Once a month I do this show with two of my really good friends, and we argue about cookies and science. It's really cool. I tend to get a little tipsy because it's the only time I drink. I'm a lightweight.
Yeah, we know.
Other than that, no.
Dave, what do you got?
Nothing right now, but might be 2 things coming up. Hopefully by next month I'll have some information.
Oh, anything you can give us like a hint on?
No.
Oh,
super secret.
Ooh, that makes it even better.
I know. I want to know.
Now I do.
Or it could just be a super big buildup for a whole lot of nothing.
Could you like do the hint in charades to make it harder?
No.
Shit. Okay.
All right. So I got I guess coming up Friday night is the Skeptical Help Bar. It's probably going to be an open mic night this Friday because I didn't book a guest. But coming up on the 21st, I'm going to have Bradley and 3 of his teammates that are going to come on, and we're going to talk about what they do and how they do it and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to it because it should be interesting. We're going to have, let me see here real quick. So it's going to be him, Jack Tremmel, who is the vice president, LaDonna Gorham, secretary, and then Alan Salon. Oh God, I'm going to butcher this. Salon Nigger. Yeah, that.
Slownicker.
Yeah.
All right. Let's add that one to the list. Where's my notebook?
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun.
Can't say.
And then coming up, my next thing isn't until my next event is until May, and I have to have I got to try and get confirmation, but I should be at Penhurst Asylum for their Penhurst Paracon. I'm looking to sit up there. There's going to be June is the Grafted Monster Festival in West Virginia.
Are you going to miss that one?
You're going to miss that one?
No, so I'm not going to miss that one.
Oh, good.
I got
Daniel Reed will be there.
Ahead. Yeah.
Cool.
And there's a couple things, but way into the future. So no biggie. Anyway, everyone. Oh, wait. Was there another question? Oh, sure. I'll send me your address again and I'll send you some cookies. Because she makes them, and if I can send them to you, then I won't have to eat them. Because
well, let me give you my address.
I will gladly send care packages out so I don't have to eat them because they're so yummy and I just keep eating them. So there's chocolate chip, and I think there's chocolate chip with some peanut butter in it. And I don't. Yeah,
oh, man,
it's hell. It's hell. All right. So with that, I guess we're done. We will be back next month. Who's up?
I can't remember.
I think it's Dave. Back to me.
Back to you. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have a real topic to talk about.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. So I'm going to try this automatic outro. We'll see what happens. But everyone,
I'm not going to make a funny face this time.
See you next month, or I'll see you Friday. Bye.
Good.